Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining me and thank you for your continued support. It really does mean a huge amount. Thank you for the comments saying that it's helping you. I really do appreciate that. That is of course the idea of the channel. So Rachel Reeves did her spring statement, emergency budget, whatever you want to call it, and she did go through the welfare cuts that's going to be happening. Now in broad terms, not a huge difference to what Liz Kendall said, but I'm going to go through it anyway because there are some subtle differences that I will try to explain to you as we go along. So let's take a look at it and I'll show you what I mean. By benefit cuts and big house building promises, what Rachel Reeves' spring statement means to you. Right, so essentially Rachel Reeves confirmed that 4.8 billion in benefit cuts following last week's DWP reforms announced by the government in the spring statement, where the Chancellor promised economic benefits would be felt from the government's plans on housing. Now the statement comes as the OBR, which is the Office of Budget Responsibility, said the benefit cuts announced by Liz Kendall would save 3.4 billion rather than 5 billion. So they're saying it's going to actually not save as much as they thought it was going to. The government's cost of borrowing has also increased by more than expected thanks to rising interest payments reaching 105 billion a year. Right, so incapacity benefits will be cut and then frozen. So the incapacity benefits, this is universal credit, for new claimants will be cut by half to £50 a week in 2026, Reeves said, and then frozen until 2030. If you're an existing universal credit person, then the amount won't change for you. Okay, it's going to stay the same. But if you're a new claimant, then the amount you get will be half of what existing claimants get. You'll get £50 a week in 2026, and that I was going to say that's going to be frozen for everyone until 2030. So that's something to, you know, it's good news for people who are already on existing universal credit. Not good news for those who are not yet on there. So, and the basic rate of universal credit will also increase from £92 to £106 by 2029. She was expected to announce a reduction to the rate, but did not mention it in her speech. I think this is, obviously there's still consultations to go on, there's still final numbers to be calculated and whatever, but this looks to be more of a finishing of the benefit cuts. So, like, you know, she kind of put the finishing touches to it, should we say. So, you know, this is more like how they think it's going to be. Obviously there's still time in the green paper consultation, and there's still time for things to change and maybe even get taken out, whatever. So this is because the Treasury is looking to save 5 billion, has reportedly had to find an extra 1.6 billion on top of last week's announcement to meet its goal. Doing nothing is not an option, it's failing and writing off a young generation. That's what the Defence Secretary John Healey said. Well, I don't think it is necessarily failing a young generation. What would be failing a young generation is if you know, people in the younger generation had issues, had disabilities, or had mental health problems that do mean they can't work, or are very limited in terms of work, and they're not looked after. That would be writing off a young generation for me. The cuts are expected to have a big impact. The government has admitted some 250,000 people will find themselves in relative poverty as a result, including 50,000 children. A fifth of families where someone has a disability will lose out financially. Those are big numbers. And I know that they are saying that there are lots of young people out there who can work and should work, and absolutely, if they can work, then yes, give them the support they need to do it. But if they can't, then you need to make sure they're getting support. And Keir Starmer did say that if you genuinely can't work, you will be protected. So it depends, of course, on whether you believe him or not, but that's what he has said. He has said that you will be protected if you cannot work. So that is something to perhaps cling on to. Last week the government announced it was freezing the health element of universal credit for existing claimants until 2029. Today's announcement extends this to new claimants. In total, the government says these measures will save 4.8 billion. Reeves said welfare spending as a share of GDP will fall by the end of the OBR's forecast, but will still increase in pure cash terms. Right, so this is actually now on the government website. This is the spring statement, basically everything that she said. So I'm just going to pull this part out so that you can see it. It says, we believe that if you can work, you should work, but if you can't work, you should be properly supported. So she said it, Keir Starmer's also said it, and I think that they're probably doing that to try and allay the fears that a lot of MPs and people have. If you believe them, fantastic. You know, there will be a lot of people out there who wouldn't believe them, and I completely understand why you wouldn't, but they have both said that now. The government inherited a broken system. More than 1,000 people are qualifying for personal independence payments, and 1 in 8 young people are not in employment, education or training. If we do nothing, we are writing off the entire generation. It's a waste of potential, and it's a waste of their futures, and we will change it. But I do caveat that if they can't work, I think they should be supported. Today, the OBR have said that they estimate the package will save $4.8 billion in the welfare budget, reflecting their judgments on behavioural effects and wider factors. So the universal standard allowance will increase from £92 a week in 2025-26 to £106 by 29-30. While the universal credit health element will be cut for new claimants by 50%. I've already talked about that. On top of this, we're investing $1 billion to provide guaranteed, personalised employment support to help people back into work, and $400 million to support the Department for Work and Pensions and our job centres to deliver these changes effectively and fairly. So that's basically it. That's the important parts of the spring statement for you guys out there anyway. It looks as though some things perhaps have been tweaked to make them slightly more favourable to what it was when Liz Kendall said it. I think perhaps some of this backlash that they've had may have impacted on them somehow. I would like to think so, but who knows. Anyway, so there's still a long way to go, of course, because the Green Paper is still under consultation. So that's still the case at the moment. And obviously going forward, we're going to need to see what the response is to that as well. So there's still a way to go. These things aren't going to happen straight away, obviously. They're going to take time to go through and implement. So it's not anything you need to worry about right now. But I just wanted to let you know what's going to happen potentially going forward, according to Rachel Reeves. But let me know down in the comment section what you think about that. Please do subscribe if you've got this far. I do cover all the news around DWP and benefits and stuff like that. And I'll see you next time.